Good morning. It's always my pleasure to introduce marketers and marketing service providers to Who's Mailing What. For some of you, you've heard about us. You're excited to know it's back. You think of Who's Mailing What with very fond memories that go back 20 years. For others, you're curious to learn more about what it is and how it can help you. Today, I'm Jill Corcoran. It's nice to meet you. Like many of you, I am no stranger to direct marketing industry. Been in it for more years than I'd like to mention. I'm excited to share with you the updates we've been making to our beloved brand and how we're shaping the service to further meet your needs. We're joined here today by Paul Bobnak. He served as Who's Mailing What's Chief Archivist for over 20 years. He continues to educate our customers on direct marketing fundamentals. He creates educational content that you can share with your customers. And he publishes special reports that provide us with deep insights. We're both available at the close of the presentation to answer any questions that you might have, so feel free to send them in. So today, we'll be sharing some information, like I said, about Who's Mailing What. We'll quickly highlight some of the trends that we see, share some of our key learnings in reviewing our statistics, and then I'll give you a quick walkthrough of the platform so that you can understand how it can help you in both your business and strengthen your relationship with your clients and your prospects. So let's start with bringing everyone to a common level of understanding. Who's Mailing What was started by Denny and Peggy Hatch over 30 years ago. Denny was and still is very passionate about the fundamentals of communication and direct response copywriting. In the 90s, Napco Media took the reins. They brought direct mail collection online in the 2000s. The business wound down in about 2016. It was dormant for about 3 years until it was purchased by Allegion Growth Partners. That's us, 2019. Vil Ezrins, our founder, he used and loved the resource just like many of us did. And he had a vision to really refresh and reinvent it and bring it back better than ever. The story of Who's Mailing What. It's about the mail that we collect and provide. It's about evolution. And the marketplace has demanded more and more deeper analytical tools. And we've responded by letting customers take a deeper dive on individual mail pieces. I'm going to show you how we do that. You know, as direct mail marketers, we've got to know 3 things: who we're serving. We need to know what they want and how we can give it to them, of course, and what their competitors are sending out right now. Otherwise, we're just flying blind. And this is one of the issues that Who's Mailing What aims to solve for. Who's Mailing What gives you fantastic insights, drills down on what works and what doesn't, helps you create higher converting advertising campaigns for both you and the clients that you serve. It gives you cutting edge competitive intelligence, so you can monitor exactly what the competitors are sending or your clients' competitors. And then you can approach your customers differently and more effectively. Also, the tool helps you identify fresh sales leads who are buyers of direct mail services like printing and mail lists. Direct mail ads campaigns are brought into the collection from our panelist network. Panelists are people just like you and me. We have hundreds of individuals across the U.S. They're in various geographies. They're in various regions. They're in big cities. They're in rural areas. They're in suburban areas. There are various demographics. And they're generating mail that spans about 21 different business categories. And given that our collection goes back 30 years, and it's wide breadth and depth, it gives us a unique view of what's happening out there. We're not only able to give you cutting edge competitive intelligence so you can monitor you or your clients' competitors and what they're doing, we're able to give you some long-term insights as well, identify trends. Since our acquisition in 2019, we've been all about looking at what the mail tells us and how it's changed over the years, where it is now, and how you can use that information to be a more helpful solution provider and partner for your customers. We had our team of analysts conduct some research within the collection, and let me share some of our learnings with you. Trend number 1, postcards are on the rise. they're growing in popularity. We looked at the past 12 years, looked at all the mail formats, and postcards have been steadily increasing. Some possible reasons, potentially it's the higher postage or paper costs. Maybe it's a response in a shift of how people are reading the mail. Postcards smaller, less words, so it's faster to read and either get customers to respond to an offer or to go online for more information to make a decision. As postcards are gaining in popularity, these right here, these are the industries where you see the most significant drop in the use of envelopes or letter packages, as we call them. The average drop across all industries is 15% in envelopes. Marketers and brands, they're still using them, just a bit less frequently. We're seeing marketers changing how they campaign with less pieces and copy. Used to be part of a campaign mailed in an envelope. Here's an example. Kay Jewelers 2008 was mailing more envelope campaigns as in this Valentine's Day promotion, but in 2020, you can see that it's postcards. In some industries, though, the drop-off is smaller. For them, envelopes are still a proven way to deliver a sales message. As we move over and we look at self-mailers, the same factors are coming into play. Why use a self-mailer when a postcard can do much of the same at lower cost, which means better ROI for your campaigns. 16% was the drop across all industries. The industries with the most prominent drop are highlighted here. Pretty similar to envelopes with the exception of the arts. You see them on here. A good example of what I'm talking about. Here's two different mail pieces from Disney Vacation Club. At the top, this 2007 folded self-mailer has a lot of copy covering a 2-panel spread. But in 2021, you see that a single postcard is the norm. It's more affordable to mail, and again, less copy. Which brings me to our second trend. We're seeing word count drop and copy gets concise. So let's talk about word count. Over the last 20 years, according to our stats, direct mail copy became shorter by 62%. That's significant. This slide here, it's highlighting the industries where word count has significantly decreased, and the most significant changes occurred in letter packages. Long or short, copy should be helpful. And if what you have to say isn't interesting, it's not going to accomplish its objective. A bit later, I'll show you how you can identify those time-tested pieces that are drawing responses for both large and small brands when we're actually over there in the platform. Right now, let's look at Amazon. For years, they've been mailing letters to remind Prime members that they're entitled to watch Prime Video. But there's a big difference in word count from 2014, as you can see over here, to 2021 example. Shorter sentences, much smaller paragraphs, and a few bullet points can really make a difference. We looked at where significant changes occurred. Now we're going to look at where they were slightly shorter. We're looking at self-mailers, showing you the industries where the drop in word count is most prominent. Now, if you're a fan of copy, restaurants love copy when marketing themselves. Not only are they mailing more postcards, they're using more words, 98% more in just the last 4 years. Why not? In the pizza industry, they believe in offering you all available options to ensure you find something for dinner at night. Like in this recent example from 2020, you can see. So there are exceptions to the trends. Moving on over, digital trend number 3. Digital interactive is more and more prevalent. Direct mail is a fantastic means of engaging with a target audience, and it reinforces online efforts. We looked at how companies and organizations are opening up avenues for customers to reply. We see that digital call to actions are gaining in popularity. They're prompting the consumer or the donor to interact with your brand or organization via some digital channel, whether that be, social media, whether it be a QR code, or whether it's prompting a visit over to the website. Usage of these response terms in the mail has doubled in just the past 4 years. Here, we're looking at the multiple business categories or industries that are leveraging digital elements. You know, the top 3, retail, nonprofit, and financial services. So I thought it would be interesting to maybe share a couple examples of these digital elements. These examples here are showing you website examples, driving you to the website. As we move over here, these are prompting you to interact with their social media channels, and they show an example of a QR code in action right over here. So what does 2021 look like? Our analysis shows that of the main digital callouts, you know, social media profiles are number 1. We've got the QR codes at number 2. And at number 3, we have, you know, visit our website. The @username takes the consumer, this one here, directly to where you want them to be. Follow us requires the consumer to do a little more work. They have to find you themselves. The lesson here is that you want to give your customers and prospects as many ways as possible to interact with you and respond to your offer with a purchase or a donation. Trend number 4, BRM EBS, business reply mail, is getting a bit less popular. Another way that traditional mail has changed over the last 20 years is the decline in what once was a standard response option for many years, business reply. 53% of companies are no longer sending business reply mail. This chart is not reflective of the amount of BRM being produced. Rather, it gives you a view into the company's usage of business reply mail. And marketers, they have to meet customers where many of them are, which is online. So we've had an increase in digital reply options, websites, personal URLs, QR codes, as you can see, apps. Capital One, as you can see, was business reply over here in 2016. Now they promote a web reply listing a URL and even easier, a QR code. Let's move over and we'll look at PayPal. Mail, they were business reply in 2005, but in 2021, no more. Instead, it's that branded QR code. They're fast, they're easy, but we don't want to set the wrong tone here. Business reply mail is still considered an effective response device, evidenced by the large mailers across many industries. Looking at last year's and this year's statistics, you can see that 12% of Amex's direct mail packages included a business reply device. You can see that Citibank, 15%. When you move over and you look at the nonprofit sector, 36% of Feeding America's packages include business reply devices. Not all audiences are always comfortable with responding to an offer by going online. They appreciate the security and the convenience of using an envelope that's been provided for them, for making their charitable donations or returning an insurance application. So you always have to consider your target audience's interests and reactions to your campaign before you mail. Trend number 5. Sustainability is moving to the forefront in recent years. Eco-friendly grows. This chart is basically highlighting the direct mail ads that include a sustainability stance. So out of the mail pieces with sustainability language, 75% have been sent in the past 5 years. From a trend perspective, we see this becoming more prevalent and really coming to the forefront. Today's growing audiences, let's think millennials, Gen Z, they have greater interest in sustainability concerns, even when it comes to marketing. And companies know this. They're changing their practices to match and letting customers know about it. This chart shows how specific words relating to sustainability practices have exploded in just the past 5 years. Phrases like post-consumer content, responsible sources. And here are a couple examples where you see these prominently displayed. All of the FSC mail pieces have been set in the past 5 years. And so bringing us to this year, what's happening in 2021? Well, so far, FSC is the most common term that we see, followed by the polite, please recycle, and then by recycled paper. You can see the others here on the chart. Looking at the industry that are using eco-friendly terms, the leaders are financial services, nonprofit, and retail. Again, this reflects the value these marketers place on informing audiences about their usage of paper. The companies know that it matters to consumers. They want to be seen as good and responsible corporate citizens. It's good for business. Trend number 6. Maybe the biggest trend in direct mail has developed in just the past year, the COVID-19 pandemic. It's taken an enormous human toll as well as an economic one. We know this. It showed up in the mail in a lot of ways. So looking at words, phrases related to COVID, comparing this year to last year, we see the word virtual being used right here in copy, and it's really continuing to gain in popularity. Just as this conference was historically an in-person event, we've transitioned to a virtual seminar. We see this trend across all industries. In 2020, we've been adapting and canceling. In 2021, you see that we've been adapting and transitioning to virtual environments. So marketers are adapting to this new normal, and they're including COVID-related messages into their campaigns. In this example, the dental office simply slimmed down the box, you can see here, and with their offer and added their COVID-related copy. It was just that simple. The benefits marketers are highlighting is changing. In 2020, they're highlighting different safety measures, such as masks required. The customers, they're still interested in the offers, but they also have to feel safe. As we look at the industries using COVID-related words in their direct mail copy, we have our same leaders in the top 3, retail, nonprofit, and financial services. This makes sense. If you want to buy from a retail business, maybe even visit one, you should reassure them that safe practices are being followed. Same goes for financial services companies like banks. Nonprofits find that their ability to raise money to keep the lights on, as well as accomplish their missions, have been challenged by COVID-19. So it's smart to acknowledge that fact. Maybe tie in an angle, related to your organization and how people can help in difficult times. Our last and final trend. If there's one question I'm sure that we've all been asked, this is it. Does direct mail still work? We're going to give you an enthusiastic yes. We've got companies of all ages leveraging direct mail. Companies founded as far back as Procter & Gamble to companies founded in the age of digital. Quite a few of them trendy startups. They're all including direct mail as part of their mix. Just over 20% of companies in the Who's Mailing What collection were founded in the past 20 years. Young companies are also using direct mail. Let's look at a few of them. We've got companies founded in 2020 represented in the database. These are newly established companies founded during a global pandemic, and they've opted for direct mail marketing. We've also got evidence of established digital leaders embracing direct mail. Why? Because they understand that it works. When it's done well, direct mail has a higher response rate than online tactics. They need to reach audiences that digital channels don't. They also need to stand out in the mailbox from other well-known companies in their marketplace. Paper, ink, finishing, great marketing, they all come together to make an impression and a sale that other tactics can't match. So accessing information that's available in the Who's Mailing What collection, it illuminates both short and long-term trends, just like we've covered here today. We've also consulted with other industry leaders on their perspectives. I invite you to check out their views by visiting our blog, or you can scan our QR code. So let's introduce you to the platform so you can experience firsthand how to access creative insights. You can conduct competitive research and analysis, maybe even identify a client or two that's in need of your services.